Welcome back, guys. Last episode we polished and cleaned up the Forester headlights. Today, since we had such a high success rate with that, we're going to try to fix this headlight, the STI passenger side headlight. As you can see, it is really beat up and chipped. That is because the previous owner put on like a film, and it wasn't like 3M where you can actually just peel it off like vinyl. It was like hardened film, and it actually took a razor blade to take off. That's why there's so many like grooves in these lenses. Also, you can see there's like this polishing mark right here that kind of indents. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take it down quite a bit more than we did with the Forester. But I am going to be using 1000 grit and 2000 grit, again, sandpaper. And hopefully if that works, we should be able to just hit it with a polisher after and it should be nice and clean. If that doesn't work, I can put on the cutting disc and get some really hard compound and put it on here, but I really don't want to because that's just gonna make a huge mess. As you can also see, there's also the plastic still on there on the edges, so we're gonna try to sand that off. So once again, we're gonna hit it with some sandpaper first. But before we get into it, as always, we're gonna tape it up so we can protect this paint. Especially this paint right here. This is a good paint, this is not so good paint. Now first we're gonna hit it, as I said, with the 1000 wet sandpaper. I let it soak for a little bit, and now we're just going to spray it down and then start sanding. You guys can see these little marks right here. If the camera decides to focus, okay, it's focusing on right here, but there's little marks on the edge right here. These are the most concerning because they're actually like really deep in there. But with some little bit of sandpaper and a bit of work, you might be able to smooth those right out. Overall, the headlight isn't too bad. I did have to take some 220 grit and just sand away these marks here and here. As you can see, there's much more like lines, so that's going to take a lot more sanding with the 1000 grit again, but there's still chips here and there. These lenses are not the best. I'll probably end up getting some new ones eventually, but I think once we polish this, it shouldn't look too bad. It will definitely look better than it did before. So I'm gonna go back to the 1000 grit and then work up to 2000, and then we'll polish it and hopefully be done. Definitely some problems with the inside of the lens. Let's take a look. You can see all these marks in here, and you can tell where we were almost like polishing, but we weren't actually using the polisher. So that's just like marks inside the lens. Same with this one right here, and these scratches here, and then these scratches right up on the signal light. So these are polished like really well on the front. If you run your hand across, there's barely any imperfections. The only ones are right here and then some right here, which if I wanted, I could probably sand them out, but it's looking like these lenses are just really bad. And they almost need to be done with the whole lens off the car. So we have to do that process of putting them in the oven, baking them, and then pulling them apart, which there was barely any glue last time, so there's going to be even less this time. So it's almost worth just looking at different options for the lights themselves. But it does look much shinier than it does before. As you can see, there's reflections on the top of the lens, which before it was cloudy and you couldn't see that. So we did bring it a little bit of life back into it. It's definitely not as good as this one over here, because this one has like barely any imperfections. and the inside of the lens is nice. With the area cleaned up, I just sprayed some quick detailer around it. It doesn't look half bad. It looks probably about average, about 2 feet away, which is good enough for me for this summer. I would say this mission of trying to bring back life into the headlight was a kind of pass. We didn't do too bad, but we didn't do too good anyways. Next week, I don't know if you guys will be getting a video, but after that, we're planning some super cool things for both mine and Adrian's car, so stay tuned for that. But other than that, peace out and stay humble.